Hello. My name is Costas, and today we will be covering how to manage platforms with the Istio application. Before we get started, it might be prudent to describe what is the Istio application. Istio is an open-source service mesh that provides a way to control how microservices share data with one another. It offers a variety of features such as traffic management, security, and observability, which are crucial for managing large-scale microservices deployments on platforms like Kubernetes. In this video, we're going to enable monitoring in our Istio mesh, using both Prometheus and Grafana. Once we have the ports forwarded to localhost on the master node, we will need to implement an Nginx proxy to allow outside access. Imagine this scenario. Our company has implemented a new SLA for their application that is deployed in Kubernetes. We have been tasked with managing this application. In order to ensure that support is responsive to issues within the SLA, we will need to implement monitoring of the application so that we can develop some insight into its behavior. For our setup, we will need 3 Linux Ubuntu servers. You will need to create a Kubernetes cluster. One of these will be the master and the other 2 the worker nodes. The book info application is one of the samples provided by the Istio application. If you wish to follow along, the commands are in the description. OK. Let's SSH into the master or control plane. Now we are going to use the wget program to download the Istio application. Now let's unpack the tarball application. Next, we will add Istio to our path. Now let's set Istio to node port type, and the node port to port 30080. We will be using one of the YAML scripts we downloaded with Istio earlier. Now bring up the Istio control plane. Let's verify that the control plane is running by invoking the following kubectl command. We will, hopefully, see all the pods in the Istio system namespace. Good. Now install the bookinfo application with manual sidecar injection. Wonderful. Now verify that the application is running and that there are 2 containers per pod. Very good. Create an ingress and virtual service for the application. As you can see, the YAML file created both components successfully. After we have loaded all these commands, let's examine if everything works. In a web browser, let's verify that the page loads at the URL. We will use the public IP address of node 1. As you can see from the screen, we have successfully completed the first task. Next, we will configure Grafana to forward to the local host. Whoops, typo on my part. Let's correct the string and try again. That's better. As you can see, the forwarding has been applied this time for Grafana. Now let's install Nginx that will act as our proxy. Now the password for sudo. We have run into a known Ubuntu issue. We have the update process trying to use the apt process whilst we are trying to install Nginx. Okay, let's sort this out. Okay, let's try something else like sudo apt clean. It's working now. The install is occurring as you can see. Now that Nginx is successfully installed, let's change its config file and add a proxy pass string. Scroll down to location within the file. Comment out all existing lines in the location. Now let's save the configuration file and restart the application service. Good. Now let's review the installed Istio dashboards. The public IP address for Grafana will be the master Kubernetes node. It seems that my system is being overloaded. It should resolve shortly. It seems that the mesh traffic dashboard has not populated. If this occurs, refresh the application. If that also fails, then run the Istio demo YAML file again. Ah. The dashboard has populated. Success! This brings us to the end of our video on managing an application with Istio. Until next time.